بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Welcome to chapter 4.7, Help Notes for Ahmed and Haywood, a new Arabic grammar. In the previous video we covered the first half of this presentation, and now we're going to cover the second part. We ended with this table and we talked about the rules for an idaafah, the rules that cover al-mudaf, the first part of an idaafah, and al-mudaf ilay, the second part. And really it was the yellow boxes. So quick reminder, the al-mudaf cannot take tanween, it cannot take alif lam, whereas the al-mudaf ilay can. And then as both are nouns, they both have the mind properties. Both can be male or female or any combination. When it comes to the inflection or hal, the case, then the al-mudaf can be anything, marfu, mansub, majroor, but the mudaf ilay can only be majroor. And when it comes to number, the al-mudaf can be singular, plural, or dual or plural, likewise for the al-mudaf ilay. When it comes to definiteness, then the al-mudaf equals al-mudaf ilay in its definiteness. So if the al-mudaf is definite, this is definite. If it's indefinite, this is indefinite. Right. Let's take this sentence here. Bana bayt al-khashabi. He made house wood. House of wood. So what is this is an idaafah. The clues to recognizing that this was an idaafah is that A, it's a pair of nouns, and the first noun doesn't have alif lam, whereas the second does. The second may not have an alif lam, but we have to that is a clue. If you have that kind of combination, that's likely to be an idaafah. The meaning helps us: house, wood, house of wood. And the third thing is there's no alif lam before bayt, but it doesn't have a tanween. So that's a giveaway that this is then the only reason that's happened is because this is an idaafah, and this must be the mudaf. And the other clue is that this is a word which has got it's got a kasra, and because it is majroor, and there's nothing here, there's no harf jar making it majroor. So therefore it must be the combination of these two words and an idaafah. So bana bayt al-khashabi, he made a house of wood. Now suppose we wanted to put adjectives about either the house or the wood, where would we put them? Here's how we do it. He's made a much bigger house. Bana bayt al-khashab al-kabir. Bana al-bayt al-kabira min al-khashab. So I'd like you to first concentrate on the blue sentence here. Bana, he made, al-bayt al-kabir, the house, the big, is how we would write it if we didn't have an idaafah. So the big is an adjective for the word the house. They match al, they're both definite, they're both male. This one is mansub because it is the object of the verb bana, and therefore the adjective is also mansub. And because it's munsarif, it takes a fatha, and because it has alif lam, it only takes one fatha. Likewise here, this is munsarif, hence it takes a fatha when mansub, and it only takes one because there's an alif lam. So you put the adjective straight after the noun you're describing. Bana al-bayt al-kabira min al-khashabi, from wood. But suppose we had the sentence here in an idaafah. Bana bayt al-khashab, the adjective has to come after the idaafah, al-kabir. You're not allowed to split the two words that make up the idaafah. The reason is, it's very difficult to work out that these are in an idaafah relationship if you split them. So the adjectives always come at the end, and they agree with the word that they are describing, just like a normal adjective. It's just that their placement is different. So this has an al because this word is definite, but it doesn't have an al. Remember we said that the definiteness of the al-mudaf equals the definiteness of the al-mudaf ilay. So the al-mudaf ilay has an al, which is why it's definite. Therefore, bayt is definite. Therefore, its adjective has to be definite. This is mansub, therefore the adjective is mansub, and so on. So bana bayt al-khashab al-kabir. He made a house of wood, the big, i.e. a big house of wood. Suppose we wanted to put the adjective for the al-mudaf ilay. Well, let's have a look at it. How would we put it without an idaafah? Bana al-bayta min al-khashabi an-nadir, rare. He made the house from wood, the rare, from rare wood. Um, so the adjective for khashab is nadir. Khashab is majroor because it has a min before it, and because it's munsarif, it will take a kasra, and it only takes a single kasra because there's an alif lam. Likewise, the adjective has to agree with this. So there's an alif lam, there's an alif lam. This word is male, this word is male. This word is singular. This word is majroor. Therefore, this word is majroor. Going through the mind analysis. This is singular, the number. This is singular, and this is definite because of alif lam, and therefore this is also definite with an alif lam. Now, if we put the words al-bayt and al-khashab together, bana bayt al-khashab, we're not allowed to put anything in between these two. So the adjective has to go at the end. Bana bayt al-khashabi an-nadiri. So here again, it sounds almost the same because obviously the adjective doesn't interpose. It's not for the house, but it's for the khashab. But note, how do we tell that this is the adjective of this word? Well, context is the most important reason. And secondly, the vowels. So the fact that this word is majroor makes this word majroor. This is definite, and the key is that it's majroor, and therefore it has a kasra, and this is majroor, and therefore it has a kasra, and therefore this adjective applies to this word and not to the word before. Had this been a fatha, bana bayt al-khashabi an-nadira, then he would have made a rare house of wood. Then it would have been the adjective of bayt. If you didn't have vowel endings, how would you tell which word the adjective belongs to? Well, you have to use other clues, like the presence of alif lam if this word is indefinite or not indefinite, but really it's context. So the context will tell you whether he was making a house which was rare, made of wood, or whether he was making a house from rare wood. Okay. Now we put two adjectives together. So bana bayt al-khashab. Now we want to say that the bayt was big, al-kabir, it's a big house, and the wood was rare and nadir. So bana bayt al-khashab al-kabir and nadir. We put both of the adjectives after the idaafah, and the adjectives have to match with the word that they are describing. So al-kabir matches with bayta. If we do a mind analysis, male, mansoob, singular, definite because of an idaafah, definite because of al. Al-khashab, male, an-nadir, male, majroor, singular, definite because of al, definite because of al. How would you rewrite that sentence without an idaafah? You'd say bana al-bayt al-kabira min al-khashabi an-nadiri. So you'd put the adjective straight after the noun that you have. So you can see the advantage of having an idaafah is that you save yourself a whole word. Okay. So if we were to summarize, this is a short lesson. We can add one more row to our table of idaafat. Is one more rule. We are not allowed to separate the al-mudaf and al-mudaf ilay, and the adjectives have to come later. So they're almost like they're padlocked together. You cannot separate them. The only thing that can open this lock is a harf jar, and then you have to put the harf jar in between, and then you no longer have an idaafah. The al-mudaf can never take a tanween. The al-mudaf ilay can take a tanween if there is no al. The al-mudaf can never take an al. The al-mudaf ilay can take an al depending on whether it needs to or not. In terms of the four properties of a noun, mind, both can be either male, mudhakkar, or mu'annath, female, or any combination of the two. There are no conditions set by the al-idafa. Inflection or hal or case, the al-mudaf can be any case depending on its role in the sentence. It could be marfu' if it's a mubtada, for example. It could be mansub if it is the maf'ulun bihi, for example, or it could be majroor even if it is the if it's after a harf jar, for example. But al-mudaf ilay always has to be majroor. It cannot be anything else. Even though logically you might think, well, aren't we making a house of wood? Shouldn't it be mansub? Logically you might be correct, but grammatically it has to be majroor. And if it's not majroor, then it's not correct. If you look at the number, then you can have any combination of numbers, singular, dual, or plural, singular, dual, or plural. The dual has another rule which I haven't covered here, but will be covered a bit later in handswear. So let's leave that for the moment. And when the word is definite, al-mudaf, you work out whether it is definite or definite by looking its definiteness equals the definiteness of al-mudaf ilay. So before you look here, you should look here. If this word is definite al-mudaf ilay, then the al-mudaf is definite. If this is indefinite, then this is indefinite. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.